What's going on, people? Welcome to an In Motion Football live stream. Today we have the first transaction reaction of the offseason. First free agency signing, first trade, free agency signing slash trade that's worth reacting to. We got the Niners trading Deebo Samuel to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. I see my guy Jared is in the chat. I will definitely get you in here. I'm just gonna rip through the initial reactions, the initial reaction first, and then honestly, I'll put the link out there for anybody who wants to get any opinions in. Into the stream. So you guys can hop in. I'm just gonna run through my reaction first, and then I'll let people in. Shout out to the 8 people watching live. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this afterwards on replay, you have the same opportunity to support the content. With that out of the way, the Commanders made a pretty big move right now. There's a lot to get into. We're going to get into the Commander side of things and the Niners side of things. But the first thing to look at is the Commanders receiving group. Up to this point, they'd only had Terry McLaurin and Luke McCaffrey under contract. So if you look at the screen here, wrong direction here. Yeah, everybody in green is a free agent. So what that means is you got to replace De'Ami Brown, Zacchaeus Crowder, and Noah Brown. Now, I don't think either of those players individually had amazing contributions that would be difficult to replace. This was actually an opportunity. This was a part of the team that Washington had an opportunity to upgrade. And I think it's safe to say that they did. We're going to add some caveats to that later, but I think Deebo Samuel is individually more talented than De'Ami Brown, Zacchaeus, Noah Brown, or Jamison Crowder. As for the fit, I think you have Scary Terry as like your number one superstar kind of a receiver. You have Deebo now, who I think is going to be like your slot, kind of Swiss Army knife kind of a player. And in terms of what they need up to this point, I'm actually not overly familiar with Luke McCaffrey's game, but I think from a skill set standpoint, they're just missing a deep threat now. I think if they get a bona fide deep threat, somebody who can stretch the field, somebody who commands the safeties to take a couple steps back whenever they step onto the field, that'll create an awesome amount of space for everybody else that's going to be working. But another thing that I think this is interesting, kind of an interesting sign of, is when I think about the role that Zach Ertz had in the offense, I think Deebo Samuel is probably a great fit to do a lot of those underneath crossing routes, ins and outs. Zach Ertz was kind of a safety blanket for Jaden Daniels. I think Deebo actually is well positioned to be able to come in and be a safety blanket. I don't know if this means the end of Zach Ertz in Washington, or if they just wanted to safeguard themselves against him potentially getting poached by another team in free agency. But they were going to lose 2 of their starting receivers and Zach Ertz. Again, from a talent standpoint, they upgrade De'Ami Brown and Olamide Zacchaeus. From a fit standpoint, they, again, protect themselves against potentially losing Zach Ertz. And yeah, they have money to spend. They have resources to burn. So this was their first major move, and there's going to be more moves to come. Downside of this trade, I don't think Deebo is a great use of resources. I think he's on the downturn in his career. Now, I think last year, the issue may have been that he was a little bit out of shape, and maybe he gets back in shape and plays significantly better this upcoming year. But even if that's the case, I don't believe he's a particularly young player. Let's look up Deebo. Damn, did I really look up Deebo Samuel struggling? That's hilarious. How old is he? Deebo Samuel, he just turned 29. So that's not like ridiculously old. But in terms of a player that just had a season where they looked out of shape, they didn't look particularly great. That's not a particularly a great age to give a player a new contract. If you look at the contract that they have, Deebo Samuel is in the last year of his deal. And actually, this is not big enough to be readable. I'll have to make this part of the. I'll have to make this one bigger. But yeah, so Deebo Samuel in the last part of his deal. In terms of the money that's going with him to Washington, it's literally only this 1.17. And this 7.5. Yeah, so basically no money. They're getting Deebo Samuel for $2 million a year this year on a 1-year deal, which basically means that they're getting nothing in terms of a contract, because he's not going to play for that money. They're going to give him a brand new deal, which is a part of the reason the compensation isn't particularly high, by the way. So when you see that he cost a 5th-round pick, that's because he's basically a free agent. That's really all that they could possibly get from a move like this. He is essentially, like, it's not like you're getting the benefit of having him under contract for a good deal, for like a good price for a decent amount of time. He's basically a free agent. So they traded a 5th round pick for a free agent. Like I said, there is an upside, but the place where I'm kind of a little bit skeptical about it for them is that they've kind of made the same mistake with Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore, they just traded for him. You know what? We're gonna make this screen big again, so bear with me, people. Marshawn Lattimore. Let's make this big again. Marshawn Lattimore, basically, he got traded, and if you notice, there's no dead cap on his deal. Why is that the case? Because there's absolutely no guaranteed money left on his deal. Marshawn Lattimore, also 29 this year. Somebody else, that's gonna be. Hold on, the hell? What happened? Is he trolling me? Nah, he's a commander, brother. Yeah, he's a commander. That's hilarious though. Yo, hold on. Did you read this wrong or did no? Because I got commanders on the video. That's hilarious, man. General is a funny guy. But yeah, so Lattimore, also 29, also in need of a new contract. And if you saw Lattimore last year, he did not look particularly great when he came back for Washington. He was getting cooked by AJ Brown when Kenny Pickett was playing. He was getting cooked by the Eagles receivers in the NFC Championship game. Yeah, this is kind of a strange practice that they're doing. Trading for 29-year-olds that are on the other side of their best years and paying them new contracts is not, I think, the best use of their resources. I think they have a solid amount of foundational pieces that are good. They have a lot of draft capital. They have a lot of money to spend. But for some reason, this Lattimore trade and this Deebo Samuels trade, they kind of seem like, by the way, General, if you have opinions, the link is here. I'm just going to add people after like I go through my like initial reaction. But yeah, the practice of trading for 29-year-olds that need new contracts that are on their past their prime, I don't think it's a great use of resources. I don't think Washington has to make this aggressive of a right now push. It's like these are the kind of moves I would think a team would make if they had a quarterback in their 30s. If the goal is we have to get as good as we can now, and we need veteran players. Maybe they're making that aggressive of a push because Jaden is on his rookie deal and they really want to cap out what they can do while he's pretty cheap. But I don't know if this is a great move. From a value standpoint, I think they could have got a better player in the draft in terms of what they're going to get for the next 3 years. I think there's other options they could have gone for that they would have gotten better value for, better production from for the next 3 years. Bro, this is the 2022 Lakers edition. Yeah, they're just it's not a great use of resources. It's not that he's a bad player. He's a good player. He's gonna fit into their offense really well. Cliff Kingsbury, you know, he loves having these kind of receivers that you can do a bunch of different things with. You can throw him screens. You can hand the ball off to him. You can have him running again, all the underneath routes that Zach Ertz. Like I look at him in this offense, and I think he's basically going to be like Super Saiyan Zach Ertz from the standpoint of like, yeah, he's going to do all the underneath stuff that Zach Ertz did to be a safety blanket, but also we're going to throw him screens and we're going to give him tosses and all these other things. So I actually don't think this is the end of the receiver investment for them. I think they probably bring in one more receiver. I think we can revisit the value standpoint or the value judgment when they do give him a contract. Does that mean Ayuk's still on the books or off now? What do you mean? Oh, I think no, they're keeping Ayuk. I think, bro, the part of the reason they made this trade is because they paid Ayuk. They don't, Deebo's in the last year of his deal. They don't have the ability to pay Deebo whatever he wants because Ayuk got paid. And then the other thing is like Ayuk just tore his ACL after signing a big deal. Ayuk is borderline untradeable right now. I don't think he could be moved. Deebo has some value from the standpoint of he's basically a free agent. Like he's on the last year of a deal that has like no money left. You know he's not going to play without a new deal. I guess he found a team that thinks that they can get him in shape and get the best version of himself on their team next year. But yeah, again, like it's so similar to the Lattimore trade for me. Why are we trading for 29-year-olds that are past their prime and giving them big contracts? So yeah, commander side of things, like I said, it won't be bad. He's going to be on the field. He's going to make plays. I just think they could have done better. I think they could have gotten better than a 29-year-old player who was out of shape last year, who they're going to have to give a new contract to. Shout out to Deebo though. I do think he was wearing an Eagles jersey before the Super Bowl. I'm gonna have to find that at some point while Jared is talking. But before I get Jared onto the call, I'm going to scroll up here and find the Niners offense, and we can look at the Niners side of things. So Niners offensively, they have lost Deebo Samuel. They at receiver right now, they have Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, the first round pick from last year, and Jacob Cowing, the 4th round pick from last year. So they got 2 second-year players I'm sure they're going to rely on to get better. They got Jawan Jennings and Ayuk, people who have a resume for producing in this offense. So I don't actually think they're going to draft a receiver. If they do, maybe another 3rd, 4th round pick. I don't think they're going to make a major investment in that part of the field. I mean, I think they're going to spend a lot on their defense. But in terms of what they lost, again, they paid Ayuk last year. They paid McCaffrey either 2 years ago or last year. There's big money there. They're going to be paying Brock Purdy. So this was a cost-cutting thing that just had to happen. I like both Pearsall and Jennings. Yeah, they're not at a point where they have no bodies. Like, they have people that can play. The issue is that maybe Pearsall underwhelms, or maybe Jennings takes a step back, something like that. But the reality is that they have viable people they can put on the field. But like I said, this was a cost-cutting measure. You got big money McCaffrey on the books, Ayuk on the books. Trent Williams he always wants a raise. You got to pay Brock Purdy. So financially, something had to give. And Deebo was fat as hell last year and underperformed. So it is what it is. It makes sense from their standpoint. People might think, well, how could you only get a 5th round pick? Again, Deebo is basically a free agent. Deebo Samuel had 1 year left on his deal, but it was basically for like $1.5 million, and he was not going to come back to play on that salary. He was going to always look for a new deal. So that's that. Trade makes sense from that standpoint. But I'm going to welcome Jared into the stream. What's going on, Jared?
Oh, this is interesting.
It is very interesting.
Glad my Texans didn't get him.
See, okay, I think you talked about specifically Deebo to the Texans yesterday, and I was like, bro, I don't know if that's the best idea.
And guess what? It didn't happen. I'm happy with it.
But hold on, like, I do want to confirm. I did say that, right? Because my thing is like, I don't want people to think that like I'm just not a fan of this trade because the Commanders made the move. I'm not a fan of the trade because like I wouldn't be a fan of anybody trading for Deebo Samuel. Really, like I don't think paying a 29-year-old out of shape player is the best use of resources when it's so easy to draft receivers. It's so like not easy to draft receivers. Sorry, there's a lot of options.
It's hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. There's other options that can be for receivers that can be acquired with as much money as Washington has. Why are you not in the T. Higgins market, right?
I'm wondering the same thing. Why did they trade for Deebo and not go after T?
I would say Cooper Kupp is even a better option at this point.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. Yeah. Well, we got another signing that Matthew Stafford is staying with LA Rams.
Yeah, you got Stafford staying with the Rams. Then they just paid their left tackle as well. So the Rams and Commanders, two teams starting to spend some money, which we talked about. I think I talked about how the Commanders and Rams both had a lot of money to spend. Both would probably get a bunch of new players. Now I think the Rams, again, they had to. They've spent money on their own players right now. And then if you look at what the Commanders did, they spent money right now on Deebo Samuel to replace what they were missing. Like they're literally
Kwame Brown. I think they're losing Kwame Brown in the offseason.
Losing 4 receivers to free agency. You had to replace that. So both the Rams and Commanders up to this point just spending money on their own players essentially. Haven't really got better yet. But yeah, man, your Texans dodged
Jane Daniels has a new target now.
He does. Okay, let me see if I can find something. Let's see if I can find some free agents.
By the way, they did re-sign Christian McCaffrey last year.
Okay, yeah. So see, to a
3-year deal. To a 3-year deal.
2 contracts that went to weapons in the last couple. In the last
year. They signed CMC for 3 years, and they signed Ayuk to 8 or 6 years.
Okay, so if we're talking free agent receivers,
T.
I think
Higgins.
we can do an exercise of comparing Deebo to the different free agents. I'm taking Stephon Diggs over Deebo, even off an ACL tear.
I would.
I'm taking Higgins over Deebo, obviously.
How old is Diggs now?
Diggs is 31, 2 years older than
30.
Deebo.
And Higgins is younger than Deebo.
Oh, Higgins is 26, man. Higgins hasn't even touched his prime yet. That's why he's like the superstar receiver that's available.
I think the Patriots goes after him for Drake May.
You know what I'd say about Diggs though as well. The side impact of why Diggs is a better I guess option is because one, he's a free agent. He's not going to cost you a draft pick, and two, because of his age and his knee injury, he's going to cost a lot less than Deebo Samuel on the contract. But
yeah,
I think in terms of what you get on a football field next year, I think you get more out of Stephon Diggs than Deebo Samuel. But yeah, so I'm taking Diggs and Higgins. Keenan Allen, I think I would take Deebo over Keenan.
Keenan didn't have a good year this year with the Bears.
So, I mean, the Bears was also a really like shitty situation. So, I mean, that made things kind of complicated. But also, what I would say is that like Keenan's even older. He's 32. He's somebody who can definitely still do his job well, but his job is just like it becomes a more and more narrow thing. Like he's a slot underneath safety blanket kind of receiver at this point. Alone.
Like wide receiver 2 or 3.
Like probably 3.
3.
And Deebo, you still get the running back stuff and you still get the screen stuff, so it's a little bit more. Amari Cooper against Deebo Samuel.
I'll take Cooper. I'll take Cooper over Deebo.
Personally, I feel like this is a toss-up, but I can hear both sides for sure.
Because Cooper is younger, I think.
So Cooper is a year older.
Cooper's 30.
Yeah.
And Cooper's played for the Cowboys, the Browns, and then the Bills.
Yeah.
I take the Browns out of Cooper's career.
Okay, so what about Chris Godwin? That one's interesting. Chris Godwin is the same age. You're cutting out. I can't really hear you. But yeah, I would take Godwin. You know what though? Deebo's weight issues and Godwin's injury history, to me, wipe out. In terms of what you're going to get as a receiver, Godwin is a better football player than Deebo Samuel. I will not hear otherwise about that. And again, Godwin is a free agent. So I would say Godwin is also the better. Damn, that's hilarious. I would probably take Godwin. Brandon Cooks, I would take Deebo. Deontay Johnson, I would take Deebo. DeAndre Hopkins, I would take Deebo. Mike Williams, I would take Deebo. Okay, I'm just going to look to see if there's any names here that I would take over Deebo left.
Brandon Cooks. Who did Brandon Cooks play for? The Cowboys?
He played for the Cowboys. He was banged up for most of last year.
That, and then who else you said you would take Deebo over? Deontay Johnson,
DeAndre Hopkins from the Chiefs. Like I'm looking for like all these. Basically, after those first 4 or 5 names of people we would probably take over Deebo, it's a list of people that Deebo is definitely better than. Okay,
so I don't talk much. I'm watching Elimination Chamber right now.
Oh, nice! Live from Toronto.
Yep. Jade Cargill just came back and beat the living hell out of Naomi.
Okay, trade candidates. I guess, okay, if DK Metcalf is available, then obviously I'm taking Metcalf over Deebo.
What about what if my Texans? Well, they won't trade Nico Collins or Tank Dell.
Yeah, for sure. So they're not really even available. And then Cooper Kupp. So okay, between Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf. I closed the tab. Damn.
Do you think DK Metcalf gets traded in the offseason, or do you think he stays?
I don't think so. But I just opened up that article to see the names. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's basically, we determined that there's 5. There's 5 players that I would take in the market over Deebo Samuel. So the Commanders traded again a 5th-round pick for the 6th best receiver in the market. That's not a big issue. Again, we'll see what they pay him. That might change things one way or another in terms of how we view the trade. But again, the issue isn't that they got horrible value or that this is a complete ripoff. My issue with the trade is more just that I think that Washington could have done better.
Yeah,
They
I
have
think
so
so
much
too.
money. They have so much capital. They could have done better than Deebo Samuel. He's not going to be
They
bad.
should have. They should have. Be honest, I think they should have went after T. Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the resources and you have the quarterback, like a young quarterback, I think T. Higgins is probably a year older than Jaden Daniels. They could have played together for a good 5 years, right?
Yeah, or Diggs.
Yeah, and then I guess the issue is that maybe the Bengals are going to franchise tag Higgins or something. So maybe he's not on the market, and that's a part of it for Washington. They wanted to just get this player before the market closed up. But then again, like I said, I'd probably take Diggs over.
And by the way, the Chiefs did franchise tag Trey Smith.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna start to get the franchise tag news coming in at some point. But
and I'll be there with you for the free agency, March 10th.
Yeah, it's just gonna be more of this, man. Whenever something happens, I'm going live ASAP.
I thought you're gonna be live for the whole day, for half the day.
I'm gonna be home, and I'm gonna have a bunch of stuff ready, and we're gonna
I'll
be
join you. I won't do anything, so
hell yeah.
Okay. I'll be in Toronto though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, March 12th. March 12th, I'm going to a Toronto Marlies game, an AHL game.
Oh hell yeah! Let me know. Do I have
so
here,
March?
Put a way I can get in contact with you in the private chat. But yeah,
I have Facebook.
All right, sounds good. We'll organize that for sure. But yeah, shout out to everybody in here. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Quick little Deebo Samuels trade reaction. So I'm gonna do a couple more streams tonight. Do some off-season previews. Damn, I didn't beat the first move. I wanted to get all the previews in before
all this happens.
Bro, but they started early. So yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Make sure you guys.
That general comment was funny. Though Deebo going to the Chargers, that was kind of funny.
I know. For a second, I was like, "Wait, did the Chargers just like throw a 4th on the table last minute?" But yeah,
who do you think the Chargers don't
make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and keep your eyes peeled to the channel, people, because we will be here. A couple more streams.
Now, I'll install Facebook and send you my account on Twitch on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
So, you have a good day. Do your streams, and I'll be watching the Elimination Chamber from Toronto.
Hell yeah, sounds good. I'll see you guys later. Take care. I'm out.